So, cabinets again. Still working on the cabinets. I don't get a chance to work on them all the time. Anyway, yeah, so they're getting there. They're coming along. It's kind of a slow process. You know, I don't do cabinets for a living. And then this is a complicated layout in the world of cabinet installs using, as I mentioned before, if you watched my previous videos on cabinet installs, these are RTA, means ready to assemble. So they come in a box, and then you got to put them together. It doesn't take that long. I mean, the drawer, the drawer bases, and it's got 3 drawers. Those take a little longer because there's more to them. With this brand, the drawer boxes already come put together. So all you're doing is you have to make the cabinet box, and then you have to install the metal runners, glides, and then you have to put the faces on. So that takes a little longer than, say, if you just had just a base cabinet or a wall cabinet. But anyway, yes, I mean, you save a lot of time and money, and then they're able to ship them because they're made in China. It's U.S. wood, but they're made in China, and then they're able to ship them because the shipping cost, if they were together, would be astronomical because they take up a lot of space. This way, they ship them in a carton. Carton's not that big, and they can put a lot of cabinets in a container ship. So, and these are nice cabinets. I mean, they're solid maple. These are all 5-piece drawers, raised panel, 3/4-inch maple sides, dovetail, soft close, full extension. All the upgrades, basic upgrades. And also these cabinets, see here, these are all plywood. There's no particle board. So the sides are 1/2-inch plywood. And then the face frames are solid maple. The door and drawer fronts are solid maple. And then the shelves inside, we got some stuff here because we're here working, are 3/4-inch plywood. So there's no particle board in these cabinets at all. So they're, it's a good quality. It's a nice quality cabinet. It's a real nice finish. They come in different colors. This particular door style comes in 3 different colors. There's a white version with a glazing, what they call glazing. It's just like a detail that it's like a highlighting that they do. Kind of like here, this is kind of like glazing, for example. And then they got this kind of cherry color, and then they have another one called coffee glaze, which is a little more brown color. But anyway, and then they have other door styles too. So, getting back to my point before all that is that this is a relatively complex layout as cabinets go, to get it to all turn out right. And so it's taking me some time because I come here, I piddle around for a day or so, and then I've got other stuff to do, other houses I'm building, and just other stuff to do. So anyway, but it's getting there. I mean, I've been on this for a couple of weeks, on and off. And I've got cabinets here. I had to I paid for them at the time, but they were on, as they say, a slow boat from China. So I was waiting for those sizes to come in. So there's 2 that go here. I have a glass door in the upper, and then there's 2 here, and then the upper one will have glass doors. And these cabinets, as I described before, if you want glass doors, and I put my hand there, and then the camera blurs. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, but this is the way I do these videos. You buy the cabinet, comes with its regular doors, which would be like these here, and then you buy the glass doors separately. They come in a box like everything else. So these are the glass. Actually, these are glass. So these are 2 doors because this is a 2-door cabinet, and it's that 30-inch by 36-inch, 30-inch wide by 36-inch tall. It's going to go up there. That's a 2-door cabinet. So they come like this. If it's a single-door cabinet, this is a glass door for an 18-inch. cabinet. It's just a single door because cabinets, I think it's when they're 21 inches and smaller wide width, it's a single door, and then when it goes 24 inches on up, there's 2 doors. Anyway, yeah, so that you put those on, and they come. They don't include the hinges. You take the hinges off the wood doors that came with the cabinet, and then you put those on the glass doors, and then you just put them on. So it just takes a few minutes. It's pretty simple. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up with a lot of extra wood doors, so I'm going to use these wood doors to put here, And also on the ends, now this isn't the end will be, because there's one more cabinet that goes here, but these doors here I think it's probably from these cabinets, these are 24-inch wide, so each side would be 12-inch doors. This is 12-inch here, so these are the doors from those cabinets there. But I'll be able to use them here, and then you'll see, you know, some nice panels on the end, instead of looking at the plywood on the end of the cabinet. I'll put one here and then one up there. Now, you can buy these doors, which is actually what I did, because I wasn't thinking when I ordered all this stuff that I was going to have all these extra doors, because I'm doing almost all my uppers as glass doors. As a matter of fact, only these I'm not doing as glass doors, just to change the look up a little bit. Anyway, yeah, so these will all be glass doors. So I ended up with all these extra wood doors from the different size cabinets. And so these glass doors here, there's actually 8 of them that I had bought to do here and here, and then on the other side of this one and down there. I don't need, so I'll be able to take them back. I mean, they're probably, I don't know what they are. All the cabinets were 17 grand for the whole house. These are maybe $100 a piece. You know, I mean, they get you on the extras, you know, so maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so it's money. There's other stuff too I'm able to take back. I've got a few extra things. I always buy more than I think I need when it comes to the accessories. The cabinets, I can get them exact, but the accessories, not always so much. And this is it's a complicated install. I haven't done this type of crown molding before, which is a 3-piece crown molding. So I ordered some extra stuff because I'd rather have it than not have it. And then the place is like almost 100 miles away where I pick them up, the supplier. So I have to go down there anyway to pick up these cabinets and do my returns, but at least I was able to get everything done. So I tend to buy extra stuff, so I always end up taking stuff back, especially on accessories. The other thing too is sometimes they run out of something, especially an accessory. So they run out of the accessory and they're waiting for it to come from China, and it can take a month or two. You know, it can screw up your install. So anyway, but like I said, this, you know, on the order of installs, this is a little more complicated. This is not an entry-level install, but I've done a lot of cabinet install. I've never done it for a living. I've only done it either in my own house to live in, or houses to live in, or houses that I build for resale. And not all of them. Most of the time I hire it done. But you know, this one I'm like, hey, I've got extra time. And so I save quite a bit of money because this would be an expensive install. I don't know what they would charge for this. I mean, they're going to charge several grand to do the whole house. So it's going to take them some time. I used 2 different colors. I used a darker color on the island. So this is the island, which I did show on a previous video. And then I put wood strips. I don't know if I explain that. Because this is only 1/2-inch plywood to fasten the cabinet boxes, I put these wood strips. They're just 1x2s. I actually ripped them out of some scrap lumber I had, and then I just put those around there. And I don't do every one I did here, and then again here, and then over here. And I do it on the back to screw the plywood down. I use 3/4-inch plywood, you know, for support for the granite. I had also put strips here too. I put some 1x2s here where I needed to, in places where I didn't feel there was enough to put screws into, like 1/2-inch plywood, and then trying to hit that 1/2-inch plywood, you know, now you can't see it. So anyway, so I do that. Not everybody does that. It's just something I do. It doesn't take that long. I just do enough to secure the plywood. I mean, once you put the granite on the plywood's not going anywhere. Mostly the reason I'm screwing it down even as much as I do is because it's CDX, which is, you know, it's framing grade plywood. It's warped, and I want it to sit flat. So I put in more screws than I actually need, because once you need to hold it in place, because once you put the granite on, it's not going anywhere. I mean, the granite weighs several hundred pounds. So it's more of just getting the plywood to sit down flat, especially in case if somebody ever stands on the island to do something, or stands, you know, it's not going to crack the granite. So I like to have a solid base. Yeah, so anyway, so I did all these areas here, all the way around, and then I built a frame here around, and then here I've got a 2x4, because this piece of plywood is going to run this way, so I need to secure it here, and then there'll be another piece that runs over here, so I didn't want to. I want to have decent support for the plywood. Like I say, you never know if in the future somebody's going to stand on the granite to do something. Who knows what? Clean higher shelves. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I do that. Some people use 5/8 plywood. 3/4 inch isn't that much more, and I just think it's better support. I mean, it's made for floors, so you know. The other thing is when you're doing your inside corners, because you've got drawers coming out this way, drawers coming out this way, I always do like a 3-inch filler strip this way and this way. I mean, you could do 2.5, but I think 3/4, not 2.5, 3-inch, not 3/4. 3 inches is better because what happens is you go to pull this drawer out, you've got a handle on here because these are going to have handles, and now if you don't have enough room, this is going to hit the handle, or when you go to pull this one out, it's going to hit the handle of this one. Now, most handles don't stick out 2 inches. This drawer face sticks out about 1 inch from here, so that gives me another 2 inches, but I like a little bit of play in there. So most handles probably stick out, what, maybe 1.5 inches? So if you got 1 inch plus 1.5 inches, that's 2.5 inches. I've got 3 inches out from this face frame. I got 3 inches out here before I start the next cabinet. So it gives it a little bit of room, and it's something you got to think about when you're doing your layout and you're figuring out what cabinets you need. Don't think that you can put two inside corner, cabinets could be in the inside corner together. Now some people buy like a Lazy Susan cabinet or whatever, and that kind of takes care of that problem. But if you're just using regular, like here I got a drawer base and then here I've got a standard base, you gotta do that. So you have enough room so you can open your drawers in each direction. It's just one of those little tricks that you learn. You learn it when you don't do it, and then it's like, you go to install the cabinets, and then, or maybe worse yet, you don't realize it until after you go to put the handles on. Now they're all installed, and then you're like, now what am I going to do? I can't have handles on my drawers. So anyway, it's a little tip for you if you're going to try to do this yourself. Oh man, compressor's on. Sorry about that. Let me turn it off because it's irritating. Oh, that's the backyard. We got all the grass in and stuff. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this is kind of what I did. I just kind of made up this design. I did, create some elements. I didn't create, but I mean, these are accessories you can buy, but you got to cut everything to fit your own installation. So you got to take this off, and then you got to take this off, and then you got to cut this to make the length that these come in longer lengths than you need. These came in shorter lengths that I needed, so I had to figure out a way to create a stop and then continue it down. So I had to buy a shorter version and a longer version, and it gets into, you got to get creative to make it all work. But as you can see, this down to here it actually had these on top, which I took off and I'm saving them because I'm going to use these up here to do the same thing I did here. Anyway, yeah, so this is a shorter version of this. But I had to cut it. It's hard to explain it all. I mean, you have to see me doing it. But I'm saying you got to work with what you got. You got to work with what the cabinet companies make. But you got to learn how to get creative to make stuff turn out interesting, and look like a full custom installation. Which it is because you're customizing the accessories that the company has to make it fit your situation. So anyway, yeah. So I use these. These come in, I think, 105 inch, but I needed 120 inch or 126 because these cabinets are 10'6" to the top of the cabinets, and then the chrome molding adds about another 6 inch. So the top of the chrome molding is at 11 foot. I've got 12-foot ceilings. So I've got a 36 inch. My uppers are 36 inch with another 36 inch stacked on top of it, and then the chrome molding, which to me looks good. So I've got about a foot of space above the chrome between that and the ceiling, and then because like I said, I have 12-foot ceilings, and then I'm going to put over cabinet lighting. So they have under cabinet lighting, which I'm going to have. I'm going to have under cabinet lighting, and then I have over cabinet lighting. So it'll be like, it's like a rope light up there. So it'll give a nice effect. I didn't want too much space above the cabinets. I didn't want to stop them at 10 foot. I don't like, it's too much. It's 2 feet of space. It's too much. So I stopped them. Well, okay, I stopped them at 10.5 foot, but actually 11 when you consider the crown molding. And this crown molding is okay, so this crown molding is basically, let's see, where's another piece here? Okay, so this crown, the crown itself is this, right? So it's this, and then, so what I do is I use this is a 3-inch filler strip. It comes in different lengths. I bought 8 footers for as long as it comes in 8 footers. So it's basically it's 1 inch by 3/4 inch by 3 inch. And then about 1 inch up, I use this. This is like it can be a base molding. It comes in a 3-inch and also comes in, this same one comes in a 4.5 inch. I use the 3-inch because it's cheaper, because you don't see the whole upper part of it once you put the crown molding on. So you got this, so that's up 1 inch from here, and then up from this line here, up 1 inch, I put the crown. So you end up, it's about total height of about 6 inches. So from here to the top, it's 6.5 inches. So it's a 3-piece. So it's more work because you're making all your cuts 3 times, right? So instead of once. It's not. I don't think it's my first time doing. Maybe it is. It's my first time doing this particular crown with this manufacturer. But I've done other built-up crowns, just with regular moldings. They get painted with paint grade moldings. This is not. This is a 1-piece here. It's an 8-inch crown, but it's a 1-piece. But I have done build-ups, so they're a lot more time consuming. And then this is stain grade. This isn't paint grades, so there's no caulking. There's no hiding. Right, if you screw it up, you got to cut another piece. You can't just go, oh, the painters are going to caulk it. Nobody's going to see it, right? So you got to take your time. You got to cut everything. You got to worry about 30 seconds of 1 inch and splitting pencil lines and that kind of stuff. So to get it to turn out right. I mean, there is wood putty, but wood putty doesn't hide like caulking does. So it's very time consuming to go around here. With all this in and out and wiggling around here. But anyway, yeah. So, but it looks nice when it's done. So, you just gotta go slow. You cut something, you cut it a little 1/16 of an inch long or whatever. Then you go back, you fit it. You see, okay, I gotta take a little more off. You go back down, get back down the ladder, go to the saw, take a little bit more off. You gotta kind of go like that, approach it like that. You can't just go out. If it isn't right, I'm just gonna caulk it. So anyway. You guys out there have done carpentry, you know the drill, especially if you work with stain grade carpentry. Now for this particular color, I like Color Putty. Color Putty is the brand. Oops, where is it there? Color Putty, right there. It's focusing. Anyway, Color Putty. I've been using it for years. It's hard to find. You won't find it at the big box stores, but the local hardware store has it. You can certainly find it online. And then this particular color that matches this stain is Briarwood. There it is, Color Putty, Briarwood. And then for the staining, for the touch-up staining, I think this they sell at the big box stores. Anyway, it's Minwax. Yeah, Minwax they have. And then this particular color that fits this one is red mahogany. So, I mean, because you need it. There's places you're going to nail where you can't hide the nail heads. And then I always, when I'm doing outside and inside corners, I always run this thing around the edges of the corner. So when you put the two together, you don't see any white line at all. No matter how good you make the cut, you're still going to see a tiny, because the wood is white, right? It's maple. You're going to see a tiny white line. You don't see that. So these are, it's one of these. You shake it. It's got the stain inside. It's got that little tip. You push the tip down. It brings the liquid down, and you don't need to push it. Once you get the liquid down to the tip, from when it's brand new, it pretty much stays in there. And it's a sharp tip. See, it's a real sharp. It's hard, like a hard felt. So you can really get in the cracks and crevices. and then you don't see anything. I mean, sometimes like the wood putty, this wood putty, some pieces stain darker than others. So I'll fill the nail hole with the wood putty, and then I'll let the wood putty dry for a couple hours or skin over, and then because this is oil based, so it doesn't dry super fast. It really takes overnight. It will dry hard though eventually. And then I'll dot the wood putty with this and darken it up, and then you can't tell at all. I mean, obviously you can't on a camera, but even in real life, it's very hard unless you really look. It's very hard to see where any nail holes are. I don't do a lot, but sometimes you have to, just because it's just the way it needs to go together. So you got to have a nail holes in place where it's going to show. Yeah, so that works real good for hiding nail holes, and any sometimes the pieces are chipped or something from the factory. They're coming from overseas. It works really well. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of it. I mean, that's how I am. It should be done in a few days. That's how I'm doing on it. All the bathrooms are done. There's not much to show it with the bathrooms. This is the master bedroom. Yeah, so I got this here. So I use vanity cabinets are usually 21 inches deep. Bathroom vanity cabinets. I like to put a little style in my cabinet, so I'll buy a regular kitchen base, which is 24 inches deep. So you get a little jigga. I usually put a drawer base in the middle. This, like I said, I did a dark color for the island and for all the bathrooms. So that's something you can do just to give it a little more pizzazz. Just bump out, just looks a little bit nicer. Adds a little flair. It doesn't cost that much more. The other thing I did is I got the laundry room. Okay, so the laundry room I did in the same color as the kitchen. So it's that same, I don't know, it's kind of like a cherry wood color. And then that's the other thing I use this. It's called a light row molding. I just think it adds a little pizzazz to the bottom of the cabinets. So I'm working on that in the kitchen now. So I put that on here. This is higher because there's going to be a laundry tub here, so you don't want to have the cabinet right in your face. So I usually bump it up 6 inches. And then I am going to do the crown molding in here. I know crown molding in the laundry room. Yeah, right. Well, I'm doing it myself. And we do walk by this room a lot. I even did this panel detail in here just because this room gets walked by a lot. You look in there and it's like, okay, it looks a little nicer. But that's up to you. That's just me. So it's a straight shot. There's no jigga, so it's pretty easy. It's 3-piece, but it'll be a simple deal, and it's probably a couple $100 in materials. The crown moldings and all. I mean, they really get you on it. Like I said, they get you on the accessories. I don't know what a piece of crown costs. They come in 8-foot lengths. Just the one crown without the other 2 pieces that go with it. It's over $100 for an 8-footer. I mean, it's expensive. So, but that's just part of the deal. Here it is. Here's a 1 8-foot piece here. And then here, this is a little half bath. So, just this. I had to do white filler strips. If I build this house again, it's my house to live in, but if I ever build it for resale again, I'm going to make this room like 1 inch wider or whatever. I wanted to use a 42-inch cabinet, and I couldn't because of this molding down here. You wouldn't be able to open the doors. You wouldn't be able to get it in there. But if this room was like 1 inch more, maybe an inch and a half wider, I would have been able to use a 42-inch, and then I wouldn't have to have these big filler strips on each side. This is the 36-inch. It's not that I needed the room for the cabinet, but I prefer not to have these big filler strips if I don't have to, so I would have used the 42-inch and then had a small filler strip on each side. But like I said, this big base molding that I did, you wouldn't have been able to open the doors. Anyway, and then I did an over-john cabinet. I just think they're kind of nice and they're handy. There's no drawers on this cabinet, so you gotta have some place to put some stuff in, the toilet paper and what have you. So it's called an over-john. Not all cabinet companies have, they each have different accessories. They're similar, but they don't all have all the same accessories. So maybe the one you buy, they don't offer an over-john or whatever. Hold on, I'm trying to turn the light here. I'm electrocuting myself. And then this bathroom, I'm going to do an over-john here too. I decided I like it, so I'm going to put one here, even though there is a couple of drawers here. And then this is just a 42-inch base cabinet shoved in the corner with a filler strip here. And that's kind of it. And then these mirrors are we bought it at, I don't know, Home Depot or Lowe's. This is not part of the cabinet deal, but that's the mirror that's going to be here. So that's kind of the whole deal, or that is the whole deal basically. I mean, it's mostly all about the kitchen. And then let's see, what else? Oh, another thing, because I know in the last video how much I had done. Here, this is 1/2-inch plywood behind here, and then I bought a bunch of doors and just applied them. So these actually aren't cabinets. They're just like the doors here, right? Like I was talking about. And then they also make big ones for the end, so I put one here. I use the same thing here. I had to cut them down with my saw a little bit, but it's okay because you can't, they die into the angled wall. And one here, and then I just bought these regular size ones. I also put one here on the end. And so these you can buy, you know, as an accessory. Yeah. So when you see the dial from the back, it looks nicer than just seeing the stained plywood, which is that's it over there. Comes 3 feet wide or 4 feet wide. Anyway, yeah. So that's just a little detail for you. Something to think about. Again, it's more money. I mean, if these were $100 a piece, for example, and these are probably 100 whatever because they're wider, I mean, you're looking at several $100, but you're looking at it all the time. You know, for me, it's important. So, you know, spend the extra money. I mean, it all depends on your budget. To me, to $17,000 for all these cabinets, that's cheap. I mean, for this quality of cabinet, I mean, you know how much cabinets cost. Now, that's not including the install. So I don't know what the install would cost exactly, but I'm imagining probably maybe, well, I could, as a builder, I can get it done for probably $4,000, but I'm sure you'd pay more because if you're a homeowner and you don't work with subcontractors on a regular basis. I mean, I know what my subs charge to do a spec house, but my specs are small and they're cheap and they're fast. This is more, maybe it'd be more, maybe it'd be $5,000. I don't know I've never had them do an install this complicated. They could handle it, but I just decided I wanted to do it myself. Probably more that than anything. Anyway, that's kind of how it's coming now. I need to get back to work because this video is getting long and you guys are probably getting bored. Check out my channel. I got all different, you know, like and subscribe and all that. You know the drill. Because I got other stuff on all different aspects of construction. So if you want to learn different stuff, framing, electrical, whatever, check out my channel. All right, back to work.